Welcome, welcome everyone to the broadcast today, the webinar, the biggest recruiting mistakes. We're going to actually get started here shortly, but we want to welcome and acknowledge those of you that are on. Several of you have been on for a long time. You want to get front row seats. You were on before we came on. There's like 15, 20 people on well before we came on, so.
And the numbers are bouncing up now. This is just such an exciting medium to be able to bring people together from not just all over the United States, but even internationally, and we can just meet in this portal and spend some time together. We're excited for the content that we're going to share with you tonight. So if you can, just type yes to let us know that you can hear us.
Oh, good.
Or say hello. We'd like to just know that you can actually hear us and we're not just having a dialogue between ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes. Hello.
And the other thing is that
Tammy, Lisa.
Good. We can be heard. And you can type in questions at any point throughout the webinar if something comes to mind, because we'll have an opportunity to do Q&A toward the end. So I show top of the hour, Sean. Should we get the party started?
Let's get this party started. All right, so let me switch computer screen, not switch computer screens, but let me open the screen so you'll be able to see my, brace yourself, you're about to see my computer screen, and if the desktop shows up, it's going to be shocking. Yeah, anyway. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. It says Elite Leaders Network presents. If you can see that screen, please, let's try raising your hand.
It's not in full screen, though.
No, it's not in full screen yet.
Okay.
Correct. So if you can see it on your dashboard, raise your hand. We have, yeah, there you go. Okay, a lot of people are raising their hands. So I'm going to put it in full screen here. All right, and as Margie said, if you have any questions throughout, you can feel free to type in your questions. We might get to them right as we're going along. We'll probably wait till the Q&A session at the end. And so welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Sean Smith. My partner in transformation is Margie Aliprandi, and together we are, I feel like we're Wonder Twins, right? Wonder Twin powers activate Elite Leaders Network. Together we have a company called Elite Leaders Network, and we really help people in the network marketing, direct sales industry get out of their way, stop their sabotage, help people sell better, recruit better, build a better business, etc. And tonight we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest recruiting mistakes that most people make and what you can do instead to attract superstars in your business. Anything you want to say, Margie, before we jump on in?
Yeah, I just want to say that anytime you up-level any area of your life, when you create excellence in any area of your life, you end out having a ripple effect to all areas of your life. And probably one of the most gratifying things is, yeah, for sure, to see people's business take off and to see them, building teams and the excitement that comes with, all of the expedited business growth. But maybe the really most gratifying thing is who people become in the process as they really dig deep to break through their fears and to make a difference in the world. And it's just the community that we have around us, I have to say, it brings us absolutely unspeakable joy working with such amazing people who are just here to be, do, and have more in life and to make a big difference, not just put in their time. So we're grateful to all of you for being here, and congratulations for joining us, because we know that there are a lot of things that you could be doing with your time, and we value your time in preparation for this. We have strong intention that if you tune in and show up hear that there will be ideas that could easily transform your business and your life. And so we take it very seriously, and we're very honored that you are sharing your evening with us tonight. And so during this next little bit of time that we've got together, we'll be teaching you about what we know to be true about the art of recruiting mastery. And truly, it is an art, and recruiting or team building is actually, in network marketing and direct sales, it's truly where the rubber meets the road. If you can master this skill and approach it with confidence and a servant's heart, and fine-tune your ability literally to create leverage in your business, you can create unlimited wealth and have such an incredible impact on the world that it literally is unstoppable what you can create. And so that's the overarching topic that we are going to be sharing with you on tonight.
Nice. And so welcome to this webinar. Some of you, it's your first time. Some of you, you've been with us for a long time, and we see tons of you on here, Alicia and Amy and Chad and Barb and Bernadette. We just really acknowledge you, as Margie said, for taking time out of your day. And we'll be going for right around 60 minutes or so. That's our intention, at least. We will have time for Q&A. If questions come up for you, you can go ahead and type them in your control panel, and we might not get to them until later, or we might just respond. One of us might respond back while the other one is talking, but go ahead and throw them in there so we'll have a queue of questions. And what we want you to do is not just try to feverishly take notes on what you see on the slide. You'll be able to get the slide information later. You know, this webinar is going to be recorded, etc. We want you to take notes on what you are inspired by, right? So don't worry about the information. Capture your inspiration. This is going to make me do this, or now I can really see how this will apply my team member Mary, start building her business in a better way, etc. That's what we really want you to focus on. We just got a message from Bernadette. She says, hi from New Zealand. So she just wants us to know that this is a global webinar. Thank you, Bernadette. We so appreciate you letting us know that you're coming to us from the opposite side of the globe. And towards the end of the right. And towards the end of the webinar, we'll talk about how we can go a little bit deeper with how you can go a little bit deeper with all this information. And what we want to start out with is really what's possible. You know, we want you to suspend any of your disbelief around what you've created in your business up until now, because if you're holding on to the limiting beliefs about I can't succeed because of this, or my business never does this, or the people on my team never do this, then you're not really going to be open to possibility. And some of the things that are possible when you do this kind of work are tremendous, you know, in your life and in your business. We just want to share a few of the people that were in our community. And this isn't really to pump us up, but we just want you to see that it is possible to make shifts, internal shifts that create external change. Mary from Delaware said that they just got her second car. She's in Mary Kay, second car in 90 days. She's 55% ahead of where they were this time last year. Kirsten, who I know is on the webinar right now, she said her personal business has increased 40%, unit production has increased 46%. The middle there, she says, I'm 100% more positive in my impact in my relationships due to the lessons that I've learned. And Jean, we love Jean. During these last 90 days, she said she increased both her team members and her client base by 30%. So again, this isn't to start out with, you know, how great we are, because we truly don't own any of that success. But we just want you to understand that when you do make some of the shifts that we'll be talking to you about today, internal shifts as well as tactical shifts, you can make some tremendous change in your business. So I want you to live inside that possibility for the rest of this webinar.
And you can make that change in a very short time. You know, sometimes we get caught in the trap of thinking, well, yeah, there's a big gap between where I am and where I want to be, and it's going to take a long time. By a few internal shifts, you can really shift your results very, very powerfully. And I love the idea of keeping open to the possibilities, because I've seen it happen a million times that there's the day that you get into the business, but then there's the day that the business gets into you, and you can have been plugging along for years, and in one moment you make a decision that things are going to change and everything can change. So we also want to encourage you to really stick around until the end of the call, because at the end of the presentation we're going to show you how you can get your hands on this recording, so that you can listen to it again and pass it on to team members, and catch anything that you missed, so you don't have to feverishly take notes trying to jot down everything that's on the screen. And it's my pleasure now to be able to introduce Sean Smith to those of you who might be from my tribe and you're going, who is this character Sean Smith? About, I don't know, what was it, Sean, 5 years ago or so, Jack Kent said, to me, Margie, I would like to have your assistance with creating a network marketing corner for my inner circle group. I'm like, whoa, that would be so cool. Just like my heart was racing so fast. So excited about that. And he said, and who I want you to meet is this guy named Sean Smith. He really understands network marketing and direct sales. He's, I've been working with him. He's a master at transformation. I'm like, yeah, okay. So we got on the phone together, and it wasn't very long before we knew that we were kindred spirits, and that we had a special call in this wonderful profession of ours. Since then, we've seen each other through, just even some life challenges. I remember the first time that his character got so revealed to me was early on when his father was passing away, and I saw who he is from this deep, rich place, and to this day I could not honor or respect him any more than I do, and I am filled with just absolute joy that we get to work together. We create so easily and seamlessly, and I'm very eager for those of you who don't know Sean Smith yet to get to know him better. He's the absolute best I have ever met at helping people break through their inner blocks. So, Sean, do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, first of all, so much for that, Margie. You always pierce my heart, just speaking about how we met and that journey with my dad, and how we've connected so much. So thank you for that. And yeah, for those of you that don't know me, I'll give you the short, hopefully about 90-second version. I am a father to those two kids on the screen right there. My wife, Sybil, is in the upper right-hand corner. And when I'm not fathering and dadding and husbanding and all of that stuff, I'm a speaker and a coach. My life really changed when I was 13 years old. On December 17th of 1986, I was riding my bike to school, and I got run over by a car doing 50 miles an hour. And it was that day that I realized that no matter where we are in life, you don't ever get promised your next breath. And so I started to look at everything through a mortal set of lenses, which was the biggest gift that I was ever given. And I started to see things differently. I started to focus on what I really want in life and what I don't want in life. And I made a promise to myself, similar to a promise that many of you have made. And I said, if there's only one chance that I have on this big planet, and I don't know when it's going to be taken away from me, then I'm going to do everything I have to make it worthwhile, to live a life of excellence. And the big thing for me was not settle for a life of mediocrity, because I never wanted to look back on my life and say, what could I have become had I tried harder? I just knew at that moment as a 13-year-old how painful that would be. So ever since then, I've honestly lived in fear. I've lived in fear of settling. I've lived in fear of not trying hard enough. I've lived in fear of regret. And I know Margie lives in some of that fear as well, and I think it's a healthy fear. I think most people that I know of who play really big games in life also live not in the fear of rejection or the fear of disapproval or the fear of anything else external. It's really that fear of, what if I don't do what I'm here to do? That's the bigger fear that drives people, who then tap into this source inside and are able to do amazing things. So that's how I really got onto this whole path. And then in 2005, as an adult, I had a huge breakthrough at a seminar, and I decided I want to teach other people how to break through their challenging beliefs and the negative head talk, etc. And I decided I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be a coach. And since then, for the last 10 years, I've been doing this work primarily in direct sales, helping people like you who are hungry to build a business, to give it a go at creating a lifestyle that most people can only dream about. And I really help people understand their mind, understand how to change some of the internal programming, and really get out of their way to create a lifestyle, a business, a family life, and a self-esteem and respect and identity that makes you feel proud. And when you do that, your business is going to, as a byproduct, succeed as well. So that's a little bit about me, and it's my honor to throw it back to Margie. As Margie said, when I was introduced to her through Jack, I didn't know anything about her, and we both just kind of trusted Jack's intuition and Jack's, introducing us to the other. And I just quickly fell in love with Margie. I found out what she's done in this industry. We have an icon in this industry, and I don't say that in any flippant way, but the things that Margie has done in this industry are staggering. I mean, staggering. But that's not what impressed me about Margie. What impressed me about Margie is who she was as a person, how she treats people, even though she's created some success that most people can't even begin to comprehend. She is still just a brilliant, bright, shining light of love and respect. And so I fell in love with her heart, not with her accomplishments, and it is my true honor to play with you, Margie, in our sandbox that we've built, and I just love you more and more every day.
Thank you so much. Equally touched by your kind words. So my network marketing career began in 1989, and my situation at the time is that I was a single mom with 3 little kids, 5, 4, and 2 years of age, and I was a junior high school music teacher. I'd been staying home with the kids and being able to, enjoy their growing up years when I found myself single and knew that I would probably have to go back to teaching school if I was going to be able to make the house payment, make ends meet, and so forth. But I just had this nagging feeling in my gut that I didn't want to leave them at home, and I felt like, teaching school, as much as I loved the kids, as much as I loved music, that it felt like there was something more for me, and that something more happened along just a few weeks before school started. I happened upon a fledgling network marketing company that had a product that for the first time gripped me so much that I thought, oh my gosh, I'd had resistance to the business model before because I don't think I fully understood it. I always thought, I don't ever want to be in a situation of nagging people to, come do some deal or putting people in that awkward situation. But what I realized when I fell in love with that product is, oh my gosh, how cool that there's a business model that rewards you for something that you do naturally, because I am going to talk to everyone, everywhere, anytime that I go about this product. So I had some challenges in that I had no previous experience, I had no money, and I had 3 little kids, which a lot of people will use as an excuse not to build their business. But my children, frankly, were my why. I wanted so desperately to give them a better life and to be able to provide opportunities for them that I might not have been able to on a school teacher's salary. So in that moment, I made a whatever it takes decision. And when I say that, that means no looking back. Like, it was an unequivocal, non-negotiable decision that I was going to make this work. And what that meant is that because I had no money, if I had team members in California, for example, while I was living in Utah, that invited me to come and do a meeting for them, I would drive because I couldn't afford to fly. And when I got there, I sure as heck couldn't afford hotels, so I would sleep in my car in well-lit hotel parking lots. And in the morning, I would rock my electric curlers over to a gas station and throw on a dress and put on some makeup and, emerge out of that place in 10 minutes, head off and do these meetings, walking in with all the confidence in the world saying, join me, we are going to get rich. And, there were just plenty of trials, as I'm sure we could all concur, but I was really persistent, and because I'd made that whatever it takes decision, I didn't have to consistently weigh when there were the ups or the downs, I didn't have to reweigh my decision, and it made everything so much easier. Well, the upshot of all of it, challenges and all, driving across the country, going to meetings where I was promised hundreds and two show up, and all of those things that we've all lived. Within 1 year, I was making more money in a single month than I could have made in a year teaching school. I made my first $1 million by the time I was 35 years old, and at this point, my team, this just blows me away every time I say it, is in excess of 250,000 people in 29 countries. I am a school teacher, a junior high school music teacher, but the other thing is that I had a dream, and my goal now is to create a ripple effect of the absolute goodness and the joy and abundance that I've experienced in my life. If I can help someone who has a dream in their heart break through some of their inner blocks, or if I can help expedite their journey a little bit by some distinction or some idea, something I've learned, then that is my sheer joy at this point. Truly, I've had a lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams, and I guess the coup de grace of all of it is that, I hardly can ever say this without crying. But my children now today are 33, 32, 29, and my 23-year-old daughter, who wasn't even on the radar when I started back in 1989, is building the business with me. And I look at who those beautiful people have become. And I think about the times when I was so doubtful, like, oh my gosh, am I going to ruin them by being away? Am I, is the cost too high? And then just persisting, and I look at who they've become, and I have to believe that they came in very special. And one thing that played a role is that they saw an entrepreneurial mom who went for her dreams, and by seeing that, they learned that their dreams matter too. And so all these years later, I'm so grateful that I made that whatever it takes decision. So,
as you should be. I just love how touched you are every time you tell the story, and I've heard you tell the story plenty of times, and it draws me in all the time just with the depth of emotion that you have, and that's what I was speaking to earlier. So thank you for being real.
Thanks, Sean. It's that topic of children, right? Always gets the emotions going. I love this topic that we're going to be discussing this evening. As I mentioned, it's really where the rubber meets the road. And, sometimes people say, well, why can't I just share my product? Why do I need to recruit? And some people even have an aversion to the very word recruit, which if you do, then call it team build. But the key is that without building a team or without recruiting team members to be a part of your life and your business, you can't create duplication, and there can be no true wealth creation. And so the real magic of what we offer people is the opportunity for very little money, very little upstart cost, to be able to create a leveraged income, which means that they don't have to be present for every dollar that is earned in their life. And so why recruit? Because without it, you can't really create wealth. We only have so many hours in the day, and we can only get paid so much per hour if it's all dependent on our own efforts. And so to really create that leveraged income that literally at some point you couldn't stop it if you dropped off the face of the earth, because you go to bed at night and people who don't even know who you are, you don't even know their name, wake up somewhere across the world and start, doing their thing because they've got a dream in their heart. So I understand the anatomy of recruiting inside out, and I also understand some of the pitfalls. And I know that people, the challenges that people experience, they kind of fall into two categories. One would be the mindset challenges that people, what's going on in their head that makes it challenging for them to recruit or to reach out to people. And so there's the mindset barriers, like what's going on inside of you, and there are also tactical errors, just simple mistakes. These are things that you can learn. These are skills that you can, brush up on and polish and get good at. And so, so that you can reach out to people from just a strong place of knowing that what you have to offer has value, that in fact you're the giver with a gift. You're the Santa Claus. And when you can make those mindset shifts and you can kind of clean up maybe some tactical errors, then you can really create a business that's unstoppable.
And that's what it's about. Unstoppable wealth, unstoppable duplication, and this industry certainly has the ability to do so, as Margie is alluding to, and as she has experienced and helped a lot of people with. And a lot of those challenges around recruiting, in my experience as a coach, most of those challenges around recruiting are internal. There's certainly a skill set, and we're going to get into a little bit of that and what to actually say, etc. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But a lot of it is just people, having stories in their head of why they shouldn't recruit, or it's not a good time to recruit, or people are too busy at this time of day, or people are too busy at this time of year. And many people have spent the last 3 months, in the summer months, especially telling themselves that people don't want to be recruited, they're not interested in a business, they don't have money, they don't have time, all of that stuff. And you really have to stand up to that limited story. You have to attack it, because it's not true. And especially right now, this is a prime season for recruiting. It's a perfect time for recruiting for a number of reasons. Number one, people are just now returning to their routines, right? We're at the beginning of September. Most of the kids have gone back to school, and parents are now getting back into their routines. And even the people that don't have kids, just the energy shifts during the summer, but now it's shifting back and settling back in. So people are resettling right now into their routines, into their schedules. They've got a different mindset. They've got a renewed sense of energy, right? There's just more excitement sometimes when they kind of fall back into that place of, okay, now I've got my feet back under me, now it's time to get back to my goals, now it's time to get back to our family dreams, etc. There's more availability in their schedule, obviously, especially for the parents who now are not having to take their kids all over the place in the summertime, and they can drop them off at school and what have you. So there's more availability schedule-wise. And just mentally, think about this. There's still about 2.5 months before the holidays really hit. So the next 2.5 months are prime time for people creating some momentum going into the holidays. You can use the holidays as a recruiting piece. Everybody wants to have more money going into the holidays to be able to buy more gifts, etc. So that's a great time. Now's a great time to feed into that as people head into the holidays. And it's just a really special time. There's only a couple times in the year where you've got a couple months where everything is somewhat stable. It's not in the summertime and it's not Christmas time. And now's one of those times. So if you found yourself creating this story around it's not a good time to recruit, you can't have that excuse anymore, because now is the perfect season to recruit. And Margie, you've been through plenty of these seasons.
I have
yourself
been through
as with other people.
I've been through a summer or two and a fall or two. So the thing that I would add into this one is that the year is divided kind of into quarters, and they have their cycle, and they have their feel to them, and every single one of them is a gift. If we start thinking that there are certain times that aren't good for the business, then we set up a negative mindset that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy and just simply isn't true. Someone said to me the other day, how was your summer? And I'm like, oh, has it been summer? Is summer gone? Did it come? Like, I seriously forget what time of the year we are even in, because you know, when your work is your joy and your play, and you're playing, I don't even know how we can call it work, and you're engaged in that all the time, and it's kind of the days are the same and the seasons are the same. It's just all one joyful experience. And so the pace that you set right now, let's say this, the pace that you set in any of these seasons or these quarters of the year will impact the next one, which is why Sean, to use his very phrase, always teaches, keep your plane in the air through the summer. Like, don't land it and have to then get all that momentum to get off the ground again. Keep your plane in the air, and you know, keep things moving along. And then when you're ready to re-engage, when the mindset is so right for, this is such just a perfect season. And so your pace right now and getting off to a fast start, which is why this whole thing about recruiting and the offer that we're going to share with you a little bit later is so timely, because this is the season to be engaged in this. And as you make the most of this season and get the pace up, then it will carry you through the holiday season. And then, oh my heavens, you know, they could be some of your very biggest months, and then you start January when everyone renews, and you know, it just it's a perfect season for you to be fully engaged. And let's just dive in. Should we dive into the content a little bit here?
Yeah, let's get into these mistakes.
So we decided that we wanted to pick out what are the mistakes that people make that really get in the way, both from a mindset and a skill set standpoint. We both felt like number one is that you can't really recruit if you lead with the product only. And a lot of people have huge discomfort around talking about business. They have their own money issues, and it's awkward for them to talk about money. But if you don't introduce, if your goal is to create passive recurring income and you want to build a team and you don't introduce that idea early, then it creates an awkwardness, because then it's kind of like, well, when am I going to bring it up? It's kind of like the elephant in the living room. How do I bring it up now? And so just a little piece of advice is, if you've got just a rockin' amazing flagship product that you love to lead with, then you can lead with that, and that can be a part of the conversation for sure, and all of the wonderful things about it, the science and the results that they'll experience. You can definitely lead with the product, but be sure that you say, and you know what, I want you, while you're kind of reviewing the information on this product, and maybe even as you start using it, to keep your mind open. Like, let me let you see the whole picture, because I want you to keep your mind open to the benefits that you could receive financially from promoting this product. Like, you might fall in love with it, find yourself telling people anyway, so you might want to make money while you promote the product. So if you lead with the product, still back end the business. My favorite way is to just lead with the whole thing. You can lead with the product, you can lead with the business, but I think it's best to just introduce both from the very beginning. I love talking about the particular brand that I represent has a live clean component to it. So I love talking kind of about that sort of overarching idea first, because I think that's something that everybody can relate to. And then I say, and there's this amazing product, and what I really want you to see is the business model behind the brand. I want you to see the whole picture. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a fit or not, what part will resonate with you. I know you're going to love the live clean thing. Like, I always like to have in there one thing that is almost assumptive. Like, I know you're going to love this, but heck, look at all of it, you know? Who knows what might resonate with you? And either way is fine. But what you're doing then is introducing the whole picture from the start. And I'll tell you what, however they end out self-selecting, if they end out saying, wow, I want to move forward with this, fantastic. They're going to still love the product, right? And if they fall, you know, they try the product and they say, or if they say, I want to try the product first, you go, that's super, let's get you started with the product. Keep these ideas about how the business is growing at the back of your mind all the time. So it just keeps it clean, because here's the bottom line. If you're not transparent in your interactions with people, if your goal is to recruit teams, and build a team and really create a leveraged income and you know, create a business that spans the world, and you only talk about the product, you're being disingenuous, because probably customers, it's kind of rare for customers to grow customers. And so if you're transparent from the start, hey, I love turning people onto this product, but let me tell you, from a business standpoint, this is a business to me. And so what I do is promote this brand and I get paid. So I just want you to know that I love turning people onto product. And the thing that lights me up like crazy is finding like-minded team members who want to really make a difference in the world. So however you phrase it, you want to get the information out, who you are, what you do, what lights you up the most. And anyway, so that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Do you want to add anything in, Sean?
Yeah, we actually just got a comment that somebody said, "Wow, that was a light bulb moment from Fiona." So, um,
Yay!
yeah, right. Yeah, there's so much around the awkwardness and the resistance of, when do I actually bring my business into the conversation? That's probably the most common question I get asked as a coach when people are thinking about, just talking to anybody really, but primarily to people that they don't know, is when do I jump in? And so that awkwardness that you alluded to is a real big challenge, and you just get it out of the way right from the get-go, and that just it clears the air. And then, as you said, people are going to self-select. But if you create that awkwardness, oh boy, it's going to be pretty tough to have people self-select. So recruiting mistake number 2. This is, I mean, they're all big. This one is gigantic in my world as a coach, because this is the biggest thing that we come across in what's at the core of people's resistance. And at the core of people's resistance is personal attachment. And there's a couple things that people can be unhealthily attached to, if unhealthily is a word. And the first one is attachment to rejection. For whatever reason, people tend to not mind so much when somebody says no to the product, right? It's like when somebody says no to the product, they're just rejecting the product. But if somebody says no to your business, it feels like they're rejecting you. And it's that personal attachment specifically to rejection that causes people to sabotage themselves. If you're afraid of feeling that lack of approval, if you're afraid of getting that judgment or whatever it is that, that's the core fear for you, and that's attached to the recruiting conversation, then you're going to constantly sabotage yourself. You're going to constantly allow yourself to be distracted. You're actually going to seek out distractions. Many of you are living this right now, and if you are living this right now, type yes in the questions here, because I know this hits home for a lot of people where you find everything else to do other than making the phone calls, right? You reorganize the inventory or alphabetize the inventory or clean the garage or re-alphabetize and relace your shoes and do all these things that keep you away from the fear of somebody saying no to you. And ultimately, you've got to move past that. If we don't move past that, then the only thing you can do for the rest of your career is avoid talking to people. I mean, understand that. You're in a people business. If people are your biggest source of fear, especially talking to them about joining you, and that's the way for you to build wealth, that's the way for you to create leverage, that's the way for you to duplicate, it's the way for you to get all of your dreams, is to include people with you, to recruit, to team build, to share, whatever the label is. I mean, let's be honest, you've got to have people join you in order to create what's available here in this industry. And so if you have that fear, that core fear, then you can't win in this industry until you get some control over that. Now, it doesn't mean that you've got to completely clear it out, but you've got to have some control over it so that it doesn't own you, so that it doesn't control you and cause you to continue to run from the potential pain of somebody saying no to you, right? So if you don't handle that one piece, it has the ability to really crush your business. Now, when people have this unhealthy attachment to rejection, then they start to desperately seek titles. They start to desperately seek accomplishments because they're trying to prove themselves. And here's the reality. This is one of the biggest life coaching lessons that I learned personally and that I have seen in my business as a coach time and time again, is that we have this connection between our achievement and our value. You're okay if you're achieving, right? You're okay if you're getting A's in school. You're okay if you're continuing to progress inside your company. You're okay if you're making $100,000 a year. Our society just teaches us that we need to achieve something in order to feel good about ourselves. And that is a huge problem. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't want to achieve more, but your value, as Margie teaches so brilliantly, is finite. Your self-worth will never increase or decrease. It is what it is, and it's not conditional upon everybody else's judgment of you. It's not conditional upon how much money you have in your bank account. It's not conditional upon what the scale says when you step on it. It's not conditional upon all the results that you've created in your life or the mistakes that you've made. None of those determine your value as a person. And as soon as you can separate your value and self-esteem as a person from your accomplishments, it's amazing how much more you can accomplish. So that's what we want to really help you out with, is detaching your success from your self-worth. And I promise you, your success will skyrocket when it's no longer attached to your self-worth. And I'm sure you want to add a few things here, Margie, but before we do, let me tell you a little bit about Willie. And I think Willie's on the line with us tonight. Willie has gone through this transformation exactly. And one of the biggest things that she's done recently is move through some of this attachment, that wasn't really serving her. She said a year ago, her team was growing somewhat slowly. She was getting about one distributor every other month, right? So she was progressing, but she didn't have any builders on her team. She didn't really have any duplication, etc. And but then she started to make some of these internal changes, and everything shifted. Now she says, I talked to her this morning, she says, every single month is my best month ever, right? How would that be? How would that be? For every month is your new best month because of the duplication. Isn't that amazing? Like, it makes me want to just cry with joy. Right, every month, because we're building momentum. We're duplicating. The people are following along. They're plugging in. And she says that one of the biggest things is continuing to plug into her personal development. So this last month, her new best month ever, they brought in 10 new distributors, 4 with herself, including 4 from herself personally. And obviously the results have been incredible. And I said, Willie, what's been the actual change? What are you doing differently? Are you sleeping on another side of the bed? Are you eating things differently? Are you not watching TV? Like, I just really want to know, especially as a coach, what's the new recipe, right? And she basically said it's just shifting from focusing on her titles and what she can gain and seeing how she can serve people. And it was amazing. She was talking about how, she'll go to a network event and everybody at the end of the networking event wants to know about her business, and she never talked about her business. And think of how different that is from the way most people operate. Most people go in and they're like, I'm going to get I want to get cards. I want to put my card into other people's hands. I want to sell, or I want to recruit. I want to plant seeds. I want to get everybody interested. Willie doesn't do that anymore. She just shows up and says, how can I serve? Who can I help today in this event? She shows up. Look at what she says at the end. I'm much more present. I'm in the moment, and I show up as a giver instead of a taker. And now they are chasing me down.
Isn't that the ultimate goal? The thing that impresses me, I love you, Willie girl. What I love about this is that it becomes an energetic that you carry with you, which is, I think, why we always teach that it's so much more than the words that you say. It's who you're being in any given moment. And she's walking around realizing that she's Santa Claus. She's got a gift. And people, without her saying a word, want to know what it is she's up to. So thank you so much for sharing that. Beautiful. And
isn't that a cool story?
Yeah, and if I do want to, if I can, just piggyback really quickly what you said about not tying your business accomplishment in any way to your value and your self-worth. Because if you believe that your worth or value to any degree is contingent upon business success, you will sabotage everything. It will be impossible, and it's an endless chase, because you're the only one that can really give yourself the self-worth. And when you can see that your worth is innate, intrinsic, it is always intact. There is nothing that you can do to make your self-worth be better. Like if you made $1 million, you're not more worthy. And if you never achieve anything in the business, you're not less worthy. Your worth is intact. And when you can get that, it just frees up so much energy to be able to serve and to separate you and your value from your business accomplishment. So, and Willie's was the perfect comment there. Let's go on to recruiting mistake number 3. And I'm going to move through this one kind of quickly because it's a little bit self-evident, but one of the things that I find is such a deterrent, particularly to initial success, is when people try to go it alone. There are people that feel like they don't want to bother their upline or sideline because they don't feel like they're either worthy enough or that they're accomplishing enough, or they just don't want to, they're so busy they don't want to, or they're just, the people that reinvent the wheel, and they don't care how anyone else is doing it. They're going to do it their way. All of this going it alone is not how this business is designed. The gifts of this business is that you are surrounded by a group of people that are intrinsically tied to your success. And aside from if they even have great hearts and they love you and want to help you, they benefit when you win. And so I just want to really encourage people that if you need help, you find someone who can give you the help you need. Do not go it alone. Somewhere, even if it's not the immediate person who enrolled you in the business, there is someone who, if you go to them and say, my desire is strong and there's a gap in my understanding, I need help, you'll find someone on your team that can reach up line as far as you have to get that handled. So also, not going it alone means that you need to constantly be attending the corporately sponsored trainings and events and conference calls, and you need to use the tools, because the biggest error you can make is trying to be the expert rather than letting the tools be the expert. And so you need to plug in and reach out to the mentors that are around you. It's just really easy for people to think, oh my gosh, I'm the only one having this problem, and so they kind of isolate themselves and potentially even quit. And the truth be told, like, there is support for you. And so and plus there's a level of proficiency that it just takes a little while to get going, and so you need someone to help kind of handhold you and be the voice of the vision and be the voice of the opportunity in the beginning while you're the inviter and the connector. That's all you do. And so don't try going it alone. You're surrounded by a team that can help you. And then the last piece here is the very best practice is to stay plugged in. Here's what I notice. If you stay plugged in and you're a part and you're in the deal, and then your people will tend to duplicate you. You quit showing up on the calls, guess what? No one shows up on the calls. All of a sudden you're unplugged, you're out of the loop, and it is tremendously difficult to have success when you're out of the loop. So, yeah, you don't need to go it alone, my friends. Don't go it alone.
And so much of this industry, as Willie talked about and Margie is such a big proponent of, is personal development. And you can't really develop on your own as well as you can inside of a group, and people to hold you accountable, people to see your greatness. It's very, very difficult to keep ourselves motivated and inspired when we're just taking a look at our own circumstances and we're giving ourselves a very limited view of what's possible out there. So mistake number 4 that we've identified is simply a lack of professional structure. This is a business. One of the problems, I'm going to intentionally use the word problem, although I generally don't, but one of the problems in the direct sales and network marketing industry is that it's a very low barrier of entry. So people can join a business for a very low dollar amount, and what that causes is a lot of people to not have enough skin in the game to treat it seriously. You know, if your business cost 10 times more than you had to pay, you would treat it differently. Or people wouldn't join because the cost is too high. But my point is, you've got to be committed at a certain level, and you have an opportunity to create staggering success and immense wealth and freedom, but not while you just do it in your spare time, treating it like a hobby, like it's an app that you play on your phone. You know, just do it when you feel like doing it. That will never create any level of decent success. So you've got to have structure in your business. Simple things like using a calendar. You know, it's amazing how many people don't use a calendar to organize their lives, and you just can't operate that way if you're serious about business. You've got to schedule your day. Know the night before what you're going to do the next day. You've got to set appointments with people, set appointments for lunch, set appointments for dinner. You know, put it all in your calendar so that you can see where you're going and where the free time is, etc. And you just have to be professional. Call people back. When you tell them you're going to call them back, call them back. You know, just stand inside of integrity, and your results are probably going to triple. If all you did is do what you say you were going to do, your results, I think, would probably triple across the board. And let's be honest, you know, you want some serious results, so you've got to put some serious effort. Now, serious effort doesn't mean working to the bone. You know, it depends on how much time you have in your schedule, but inside the time you put into your business, treat it like a business. And another piece here that's really critical is getting other team members started on the correct path so that they can treat it like a business as well. And you can see the way that these are worded in the slides are, you know, the negative. These are the mistakes. So getting team members started off on the wrong path is the mistakes. Not having a season of massive action is a mistake. Every single business out there that's successful has massive action. And ideally, that season never stops. You know, keep your plane in the air. That doesn't mean that you can't ever take some days off. Absolutely, you've got to take some days off to recharge, but you've got to have consistent effort in order to build momentum, in order to build leverage. So the bottom line is be professional. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean dress up in a business suit and, you know, suit and tie for the men or business slacks for the ladies. That doesn't necessarily mean or that you have to dress like that and walk around in briefcases. That doesn't mean that you can't, but I'm not saying necessarily fit the external profile of a business person. We're saying treat it like a business. Treat it with the respect that it deserves. And we hear all the time, you know, if you nickel and dime this business, you'll make nickels and dimes. If you treat it like $1 million opportunity, you have the potential to make $1 million. So whatever that looks like for you, stay inside your integrity and treat this like a business, like the profession that it really is.
Did you say you don't have to walk around in briefcases? Like, I was just trying to visualize how anyone would even walk in a briefcase.
I might have said that. Who knows? Sometimes things come out of my mouth. What I meant to say is you don't have to walk around in business suits and carry briefcases.
Right.
But I sure as heck might have said you don't have to, like, actually stand inside a briefcase. That wouldn't be anywhere near the worst thing I've said without knowing it.
That's so cute. I just think this is such a critical one as well, because when you create a structure around your business and you have an air of professionality about you, people sense that it's for real. And that doesn't mean that you can't have fun and that you can't be playful, but you're on time all the time. You're business-like. When you're finishing a call, you set the time for the next call. Let's get our calendars out. And so you're not chasing people because you don't have an appointment with them. You're just structured and you're professional, and it really does pay you tremendously well through the long run. So recruiting mistake number 5, and this one is huge as well, and this is where it is also critically important to have a mentor, because sometimes you lack vision of what's possible. Maybe you go through a hard time in your business and things are feeling a little flat for you, or maybe in the beginning you get a glimpse of the vision, but boy, it's not very strong yet because it's not built on any experience. It's just a sort of a theoretical thing. And so it is your vision for what's possible with this business that will be the most attractive thing you have. When you see and feel possibility for yourself and others, it draws them to you like an absolute magnet. And granted, there'll be times when your vision wanes a little bit, when you're thinking, my gosh, this is pretty monotonous, mundane, and it's challenging, and you're feeling a little bit beat up or whatever. But then you want to reach out to mentors around you who do have a rock-solid vision that stays consistent and stays big. In fact, one of the things that I frequently like to remind us as leaders is that the best thing we can do for people is to hold that vision of what's possible for them, and hold that in place until they step into it. And so being vigilant about your vision and making sure that you do the personal development that's necessary. I also often say that the person with the biggest vision or the biggest story or the strongest belief always wins. For example, if you have an event and somebody's coming to town and you believe that everyone you know should be there, if your belief is stronger that they must be there, they can't miss this. If your belief is stronger that they should be there, that there's value for them, then their belief is that they shouldn't go, then they will be there. So the one with the strongest belief always wins. And people are naturally drawn to possibility and hope for a brighter future. And so it's critical that you do the inner work to keep your vision strong. Because if you don't feel a strong correlation between what you're doing day in and day out and what your ultimate goals are, your motivation to keep going will wane. And the next one here is shame for not having achieved our own goals. So sometimes if we feel that we've fallen a little bit short, we're disconnected from our vision, we're not seeing that our efforts are paying off, we just haven't been in the game, haven't gone the distance quite enough yet, and we're falling short. We can get this sort of internal shame, like, oh wow, maybe it's not possible for me, or how can I possibly advocate for this opportunity when I'm falling so short? And what I want to say is there's nothing out of integrity about advocating for possibility. Whether or not you have fully put in the hours and the time to realize the possibilities coming true for yourself, if anyone is achieving them, then you can advocate with integrity. You can advocate for what's possible. So to kind of keep you shored up here and to give you what you need, the best practice is to have consistent personal development and strong mentors who have a big vision. And when yours is waning, what I want to remind yourself, what I would like you to remind yourself is that pristine feeling you had when you first woke up to what could be possible for you with this vehicle and the difference you could make in people's lives. And I want you to just say to yourself, there's a sowing season and a reaping season, and they are not in the same season. And the magic, my friends, of recruiting, like if I could just wrap this whole thing up, and then I'll pass it to Sean to comment as well, but in one big bow, the thing that I love about this is you never know. You never know when you're going to reach out to that one that was on their knees last night praying for a solution. You never know when you're going to reach out to someone that will grasp it, that will create a huge ripple effect, that will in time say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so to me, that the magic of reaching out to find the one or to find the few, like it's just all worth it, because I promise you there are people who are waiting for you. And they're designed to hear your voice, your message, the way you say it. And you get the opportunity to step up your game and to get over yourself and to reach out so that you can make a really big difference in your life and other people's lives as well. Do you want to add anything in on that one, Sean, before we move on?
That was just so deep and rich, and a lot of people are actually commenting about how that really struck them, about not being out of integrity if you just talk about possibility. And the reality is, if we all needed to have achieved all of our goals in order to step up and serve other people, we would all get our card taken away. Like, we would all be disqualified because none of us have achieved everything. And so don't stand behind that idea that you can't lead people just because you haven't achieved everything. One of the phrases that we really stand behind in our company, it's at the bottom of a lot of our emails, is it's lifting while I climb. And it's such a beautiful concept that you can still be on this path, and it's okay to reach behind you and help somebody else, regardless of where they are. Like Margie said, somebody's down on their knees right now praying for something, and many of you are going to walk right past that person who's literally praying for an opportunity because you're afraid that somebody might reject you. And inside that fear, you are deciding not to serve that person who's praying for you to talk to them. And so when you just live in that place of service, if you show up to see who can you bless, Margie said earlier, you're the Santa Claus. Who can you give this gift to? And just live inside of that. Everything else is so much easier. Most of your sabotage will go away with that one shift. Most of it will go away.
Yeah, and so big drum roll here. Announcing! Let's get your recruiting and team building game on. Sean and I decided to create a brand new course called Recruiting Mastery, the Art of Building Leverage, Momentum, and Wealth. And we're putting this together for the first time ever. You get to be a part of this inaugural program, and it is so cool. We've spent time already structuring this thing, laying it out in a 10-week course that includes some wonderful stuff. And Sean, you want to tell them a little bit about how the course will be structured?
Absolutely. We are so excited about this. Margie and I have been co-creating together for a couple years now, and we love doing what we do. Many of you have been in some of our programs in the past, and we just kind of felt around. This was literally just like a week ago. We just kind of felt around and said, what can we do to add more value to the people that want more, from us, and what is it that they want? And so this recruiting mastery course was just built out of what we've been talking about. It was built out of how can we serve? How can we just serve more people? What is it that they want? How can we continue to support? And we decided to put together this recruiting mastery course. It's a deep dive into recruiting. It's everything that we've talked about so far on this webinar and much, much deeper, and a lot of things that obviously we didn't have a chance to go over on this webinar, because this is going to be a 10-week course. And these calls are going to be anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to probably an hour and 45 minutes, sometimes maybe a little bit longer. Not that you have to stick around for all that time, but we're going to give and give and give and give so that you can really focus on mastery. Not so that you can memorize a recruiting script or what to say when somebody says, I don't have money. I mean, those are part of recruiting for sure, but it's really about deep diving to where recruiting just becomes a part of who you are. Inviting people on this journey becomes an extension of your beingness, and then everything starts to click. So we're going to do 10 weeks. The calls vary on the nights, so that if you have a meeting on a Tuesday or a Thursday, you're not going to always miss the calls, so we intentionally move them around throughout the week. If you do miss any of the calls, you have them immediately available to listen on the phone, or you can download them from the archives. There's a Facebook community. One of the things that Margie was talking about, I think earlier, is how important community is, to know that you're not alone and to know that people want to see you succeed and to celebrate with you, etc. So there's a powerful community that we have. This is something that we haven't done. We are aligning some of the best speakers. Like, even thinking about who's going to be on the phone is giving us chills. And these are some people that some of you might not have access to, and there are people that have done such tremendous things in this industry that would make your head spin. And because of some of the contacts that we have, we've reached out to some people and said, hey, will you serve some of our folks? Will you join us on a call and teach what you know about this industry, specifically around recruiting? And some of the people that have said yes, you guys,
already. People that said yes already. This is just going to be a tremendous bonus for you to get the perspective of a handful of people that have created millionaires and have created millions of dollars for themselves and have battled with the same challenges that everyone does as they're on their way to recruiting mastery. So the perspective, these will either be people that have played a huge game, or they have been big-time mentors, and we're really thrilled with some people that have already said yes. I think you're going to be excited too.
Oh, those calls themselves will be worth the whole program investment. You're going to get open laser calls with Margie and myself, where we just take your questions and laser in on your specific questions, one-on-one, not just speaking about it in generality. It's like, okay, here's a question from Kirsten. Kirsten, this is what we would suggest. And some of the breakthroughs on those calls are tremendous. You're going to get handouts so that you can really engage in the learning and soak in the learning. So we've created this program and structured it in such a way that the learning is quite deep. And we want to give you everything we can to support you in mastering this information.
And so a little bit about the content, just so you have an idea. We've already laid these modules out. They're packed with such great stuff. So how to build leverage through a recruiting culture, not just what to do to get your own self started and start building a team, but how to just infuse a recruiting culture into your team members so that you actually do create duplication. The reframing of your beliefs around money and success. One of the reasons people are so reluctant to have money conversations is they got all kinds of money issues themselves, and then they start building a business, and man, you can either just skirt the issue or you can come face to face with it and shift it to a more powerful perspective on money and success. How to create wild duplication that won't stop. Like, what do you do to just get that fire lit so that it blazes, and at some point blazes even without you? We mentioned this one a little bit, the importance of building vision and belief in yourself and in your team and in the possibilities and in your opportunity, and why are they so critically important, how to build and how to sustain them in yourself and in your team. The fundamental mindset and psychology of success, the 5-step simple recruiting process, lots of stuff on languaging, how to the inviting language, of course, and how to feel at confidence and have ease around talking with people in your warm market, cold market, and how to weave your recruiting team building activities into your every single day, that it does become an extension of just who you are, like you can't not. And then dancing with objections, how to train and how to help your new people get started so that they start with a season of massive action, and your team just builds, and how to create a compelling story so that you can say it in under a minute, but it has the magic and the sparkle and the sizzle. How to create a business story, even if you haven't yet met with the success that you are seeking in your business, and a lot. And much, much more, as they say. Much, much more.
I'm just all fired up, just thinking about some of these things. And, We're going to go deeper with some of these than we've gone in some of the other courses, and some of the stuff is going to be new that we haven't tapped into in some of the other courses. And again, just what's possible when people do this work. Danita said that one of the other programs has totally changed her life. She feels like she's got the time now to live a full and purposeful life. She has identified what's holding her back, the fears, the desires, what really fills her heart. And this is a key thing for Danita's journey. She said she learned that the tangible goals that she used to chase, like the cars and the titles and the money, etc., rarely gave her any peace. And so this program, changed her view of her goals. Kelly says that her spirit, her soul, her eyes have changed. Her team is growing inside and out. She's been helped, she says, to undo decades of limiting beliefs in a matter of days. I love this. She has such a way to rally cry, to deliver a rally cry. If you're tired of mediocrity, this is the type of work you need to get you where you want to be. And then Stephanie says, this has been the best year ever, my unit's best month ever. We're more confident. I'm such a stronger recruiter. So again, we don't share those stories to pump us up because we genuinely don't own those successes. We're proud of Willie. We're proud of Danita, of Stephanie, of Kirsten, all those people. But we don't own those successes. They did the work, but we just want you to see that when you make these changes from an inside-out perspective, it's incredible what can happen. So some of you might know that this program is your next step. If you do know that it's your next step, then that website on the computer screen there, eliteleadersnetwork.com/RM, which stands for Recruiting Mastery, will get you there. We'll continue telling a little bit more about the bonuses and the investment, etc. But some of you just know I got to be in it, so you can go ahead and grab it. And like always, we're going to give some fast action taker bonuses, so some of you are probably going to grab the bonuses before you even know what they are. The bonuses, the normal bonuses for the course, number one is you're going to get 2 free months of the Eagles Club. And what we found is that it doesn't really serve people to have those months during the program itself, because now you got 2 feet in one bucket, right? Or 1 foot in 2 different buckets, sort of. And so we're going to give you the Eagles Club after the course concludes. And the Eagles Club is monthly call with Margie and I, just to help keep you plugged in. You're going to get digital access of a program that I did called Releasing the Brakes. And that's all about helping you identify and remove the limiting beliefs about I'm not good enough and I can't succeed, and limiting beliefs around money and all of that stuff. That value is over $100. And then you're also going to get a private coaching session with one of our certified life and business coaches. That's generally a $200 value. Those are all the main bonuses for joining this program. And we've got some fat bonuses. And not to be insensitive, that stands for Fast Action Taker. Our fat bonuses are the first 50 people. We're going to throw in another digital program, and that is Defeating Your Fears. That's an 8 CD program. You're not going to get the physical CDs, but you're going to get digital access to those CDs, and you can download them straight to your computer. You can put them on CD or put them on your phone or something like that if you want. And there's 8 CDs in that, and it's really just attacking your fears from all different angles. And fear is the main thing. It's really the only thing that causes people to keep themselves from living their best life, is a fear of something, whether it's internal conflict or external, what have you. So you can use that program to really attack your fears. And then the first 5 people I want to talk to personally. I love talking to action takers. We love rewarding you.
Wow. Wow, that's big.
I just really appreciate people who are willing to get after it, who are willing to go after their goals, to go after their dreams. We definitely want to incentivize you and reward the fast action. So the first 5 people are going to get a private coaching call with me personally. That's generally a $500 value for that call. So if you think that, we're spending all this time telling you about this program and adding all these bonuses, etc., just because we want you to join, then you are 100% correct. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, you're right. And not because, the small investment, which we'll get to here in a second, is going to change our life, but we're passionate about this work. And the 16 to 20 hours that you'll spend deep diving in this course will change your life. I mean, what if there's just one thing you get out of the course that allows you to recruit 5 extra people over the course of the next year? What would that mean to your income? What would that mean to your team? What would it mean to your self-esteem, to your family? I mean, what would it mean if you just pick up one little thing that makes a big difference? So that's really how we want you to think about this.
So,
you want to tell them about the investment?
Are you going to tell them, or am I going to tell them? Oh, drum roll.
Go ahead. I want you to.
So the total cost of the program and all of those things included is $195. Super affordable. When we decided to put this course together, we've got a number of people in our community that we knew that they weren't ready to have things be done, and we also know that they've made an investment, and we just decided that we would make this at a price point that absolutely everybody could say yes. So that's the price point, $195 for the entire course. And if you need to do a pay plan, you can do $75 a month for 3 months, every 30 days. So if you are ready to make this move, we encourage you to click through on that link, www.eliteleadersnetwork.com/RM for recruiting mastery. And then if you would like to get a copy of this recording so that you can share it with team members, or we're actually going to be doing the call again tomorrow night as well. And so if you want to spread the word and have people join in tomorrow night, this is something that the price point is so affordable that you can actually have team members, even that are just getting started, join you in the course. So you will be sending, if you want a copy of this free recording, you'll send an email to info@coachshaunsmith.com, and in the subject line, if you just please say, recruiting mistakes recording, please, and then we'll send you that link when the recording is ready.
Absolutely. Awesome. So there are a couple questions that we've gotten over here. Somebody asks about the times of the calls. All the calls are at the same time. The days are different, but all the calls are at the same time. We found that 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time is a sweet spot where everybody, for the most part, we can grab most people. Fiona says it's only $20 a week. Awesome. I didn't think about that. If you break it down, that's really cool. What time and day of the week is the Recruiting Mastery course? The days vary, and as soon as
and we do that on purpose. We'll publish the entire. We have mapped out those days, but just because there are people that have consistent business building activities on certain nights, we have spread it around. So there'll be one on a Monday, then it might be the next Wednesday, then there'll be one on a Tuesday, one on a Thursday. They're always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I don't think we've got any on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday this time. But don't let that stress you out, because you can get the recordings and you'll have access to them to listen to. In fact, we find that the people that get the most out of the course anyway are people that listen to the same recording a few times. So you'll have access to them, and we do vary it rather than putting it every single Thursday night, because then if you've got a Thursday night conflict, it's too deflating. But we've got your back, guys.
Love it. So somebody's saying that she's trying to pay and it's not going through. If you're having any problems paying, then just send me an email. You can send it to Sean, S-E-A-N, @CoachSeanSmith.com, and we'll take care of you. And if you were trying to pay, we don't want you to miss out on your bonuses just because for whatever reason the system isn't going through. And we've got some people that have already joined. So I want to acknowledge Megan is joining us and Bonnie is joining us again. We love you, Bonnie. Lisa is coming in. Martha is coming in. Carol, Marcia, Tammy, they're all coming in. They've said yes right away. So we want to honor and acknowledge all of you. And if you, right, isn't that cool? We love action takers. We love fast action takers. So
And
if you do have any, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, if you are new to our community, let me tell you that's one of the things you're going to love the most, that we have very little to do with. It's who you become with each other and the support system from people that are from other companies and have, that same desired dream. And it's one of the richest parts, and Sean and I just consistently stand in awe because it's not something it's what you guys create with each other, and I just wanted to tell you in advance, you're going to find that's one of the richest gifts that comes to you with this course.
Yeah, that's so true. So if you have any questions about the course, somebody said, when does it start? That's probably good information for us to let people know. Starts soon. We really wanted to, like, literally, it was maybe a week and a half ago, would you say, Margie, that we decided to do this course?
Yes.
And we knew that because of the time that we're dealing with, the time of the year, we need to start right away, like now. And so we're starting in just a few weeks. It starts on September 17th, I believe, is the first one. And yeah, right around mid-September. I'm going to check to make sure that that is the right, the actual right date. But we start in mid-September and we go through mid-November. No, probably towards the end of November. I'm going to check the dates here. I've got all my calendars closed so that they don't give
show
me
up on the screen.
Yeah, those annoying reminders. But I'm going to check out that calendar now. So let's see. If there's any other questions that you have, go ahead and type it in. When does the 10 weeks begin? We already answered that one, mid-September. Let's see. Carol says, I signed up immediately on the main line with the cell, then registered finally on the computer. She tried to be in the first 5. Awesome, Carol. We'll let you know if you're in the first 5. Shirley says she wants to join, but she has to pay on Friday, so that's okay. If you need to just wait until the money's in your account, that's totally fine. We're not going anywhere. Obviously, we like to, to throw bonuses out there and help people make decisions, etc. But you can definitely do that and join us when you're able to. When does the program begin? When does the program begin? Oh, here's a great question. Even if you're a new consultant or distributor, can you sign up for Recruiting Mastery? What would you say to that, Margie? Somebody brand new, do you think this course is for them?
You could not be, your timing could not be better, because you will save yourself a lot of trial and error if you can create a few fundamental clarity action steps and so forth in the beginning. It will save you years. It could shave years off your learning course. So yeah, it's for sure. It's ideal for brand new people. It's ideal if you feel like you're kind of at a plateau and you're feeling a little bit stuck and you just can't quite get your hands around what it is that has you stuck, or if you just need a little bit of kick in the butt to get it going. It's just whatever if you desire to build a team and create a leveraged income, then this is going to be for you.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, these are the things that Margie has learned in her career, nearly 3 decades, and has been teaching, her team members, and to create the staggering results, over 250,000 people on the team. So if you're going to learn how to do anything the right way, it's never too soon. You might as well just learn that right out of the gate. And Lisa said she's already received her schedule for joining the program, and she did confirm that it starts on September 17th, and the final call is November 16th. Awesome. Joe says the call has been very good. Thank you, Joe. We really appreciate that. Rebecca asked, will the program be available at a later time to people who don't take advantage now? So it depends on what you mean by later time. We're going to start the program on September 17th. We generally will keep the doors open just for a few days for the people that just didn't get all the emails or needed to wait to get paid and what have you. We're going to make it easy for you to say yes. We want you to say yes. We want to support you to say yes, however we can. That will be cut off at a certain point. And then whether this program is sold later as an audio course or whether we redo it next year, honestly, we haven't even talked about it. We just talked a few days ago, last week sometime, hey, what should we do next? And let's get it going now. So we haven't, scheduled that out for next year or forecasted it all. Is there a maximum amount of participants? That's a great question. No, there's not. We wouldn't be able to handle a million.
Yeah, we're not limiting
this,
of course.
We're not there, yeah. So we're not at the point where we're going to have to limit the number of participants. And so Margie said earlier, we have a lot of people that come in and really want their team to be on the call. So they'll promote it to their team because it's great when a group of people learn the same information together from an external source. So if you're a leader and you've got a bunch of team, it can be draining for you to be the one that's always telling them, always doing the training and always telling them what you're learning, etc. So it's very helpful to have your team come along the whole journey with you. So that's a possibility as well. Let's see. Somebody says, what if I only want some of the info from the course? Great, then don't pay attention to the other stuff.
Ignore the rest.
Ignore the rest. Right. I don't think you're going to find anything in the course that's like, this doesn't really apply. There will be things, if you've been in the industry for a while, there are going to be things that overlap somewhat. There aren't any new thoughts anymore. There's just reiterations of the same fundamental thoughts, right? So, there's not any secrets of technology. It's just we believe in fundamentals, and we're going to help you create habits and create success patterns and clear some conflicts and limitations internally, etc., so that you can do the fundamentals. But yeah, if there's anything that really doesn't resonate with you, then that's just turn it off at that time. Somebody says, is this for just Mary Kay consultants or for other businesses too? A lot of my crowd is in Mary Kay. I've done a lot of work in Mary Kay. And so the answer to that question is no, it's not just for Mary Kay consultants or any one particular company. We are non-discriminatory. We'll take them all because the fundamentals of this industry are fundamental across the board. There might be different tools that certain companies have that don't apply to other companies, different ways of training, but the fundamentals are the fundamentals. And the recruiting language and, some of the things might not map on 100% to your company and the way that you're being trained, but the fundamentals will. And so, you might have to adjust a little bit to make it fit, but it's, it will apply to every company out there.
The really cool thing also is that it expands your mind. One of the things that I think limits our success is when we get a really myopic view about how things are done. And I'm not saying that we don't follow the systems and use the tools and so forth of our own companies. Like, that's critical to success. But also, it's just so interesting to open your mind and get ideas from other people's models. That as you hear some things, you're like, oh my gosh, I can totally implement something like that with what I do. And so it's actually very illuminating and fun to broaden your world a little bit.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot of people in the industry have like this lack mentality that my company's better than yours, and they try to just drag down any other opportunities out there, and all that's going to do is really stifle your own growth and your own success. So playing together with people of other companies and seeing the growth and celebrating success is really, really critical for yourself. Marcia said, I tried to sign up as quickly as I could type. You two are the best. Awesome. Marcia, we'll see you in the course, and we'll let you know if you're one of the first 5 or one of the first 50. Somebody says, will you be able to ask specific questions throughout the training program? Yeah, we're going to have a laser coaching call and maybe 2 laser coaching calls where we just get on and there's not much that we're going to say. We're just going to field questions. Those calls are tremendous. We do a little bit of celebration, find out what's happening out there that we can celebrate in our community, and then we just turn it over to you and what specific questions do you have. So not only will we answer the question, but we'll engage, if it's appropriate, with the specific person. So you get, this one-on-one. I mean, it's inside of a group call, but you really get that one-on-one coaching and advice inside those laser coaching calls. Wonderful. Yes. I can't get into your site to sign up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to type into the chat window below a link, and you should be able to just click on that link. It should be a clickable link, and if not, you can just try to copy that link. But if you are having problems, everybody, you can email me. My email is sean@coachseansmith.com, and somebody from my office will get to you. What's the link to join if you're unable to join the site? That's what I just sent to everybody, and it's on the screen down there at the bottom. EliteLeadersNetwork.com/RM if you're on the phone and you're not seeing the webinar slides. Carol says, I don't think I got a confirmation. So again, email our office. If there's any of the customer service kind of stuff, just go ahead and email our office. So somebody says, I have only a few customers at this time. Would this course be helpful or just a learning for the future? As we said earlier, this course is going to help you implement now. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay, cheers. Okay, cheers. Any special rates for multiples, like if you bring a team in? We haven't even discussed that, so we don't have any sort of published rate for a team, John. But if you email us and let us know, like, are we talking about just a couple people, or are we talking about, a group of 10 or 15? Let us know what you're thinking about, and we'll stand inside of a yes, and then just figure out what we can do to make it worthwhile for everybody. Something fair for you guys, something fair for us. Will there be assignments between calls? Somewhat. There's assignments to do some of the work that we'll give you. For the most part, it's implementation of what we teach. Implement into your recruiting discussions, implement into your training discussions some of the things that we teach, and that's primarily how you're going to get the most benefit. You're not going to learn a lot and have a huge breakthrough by putting pen to paper. You're going to have breakthroughs by actually doing the work, in front of people. So it looks like most of these questions are, technical questions, and I'll stick around and answer them. Are there any final words that you have, Margie, that you want to tell people? Anything else you want to say?
Well, I guess just how excited I am about this course. After we spent our strategy session the other morning for a few hours working on this and laying out what each week would contain. It's just such valuable information, and our intention was to create it at a price point that makes it easy for everyone to say yes, and it's gonna be great. It will be wonderful, expanding our community and welcoming some new people into our midst. That's always exciting, and we're just honored that you are allowing us to mentor you through this process, and you'll find that the mutual mentorship you get from each other is so valuable. So, and Sean, great call. I love working with you. I am going to go get packed for Puerto Vallarta.
Nice. That's because you earned it.
I earned a trip. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Cool. Well, I'm going to stick around and just answer some of these questions offline that I don't think we need to stay live here to answer. So I
Okay.
will do that. And everybody, thank you for your time. We acknowledge your presence and your energy. We appreciate you guys tremendously, and we will talk to you really soon.